After we just went over the Minnesota Vikings players who have exceeded expectations this season, we talked about 5 players who have exceeded expectations and some breakout players for this season so far with the Minnesota Vikings. As we are going into our bye week, we're going to be taking a look at 6 players in this episode, 6 players who have been disappointments on the Vikings team this year. Like I said previously, it was pretty clear who the top 5 players were for the Minnesota Vikings who have exceeded expectations. Again, it's pretty clear with the top 5 who have not been there with their expectations and have been disappointments on this Vikings team. Starting it off with number 5, and that is Rashad Hill. We didn't have high expectations for Rashad Hill at left tackle. Going into the season, we started Rashad Hill at left tackle because Christian Darrisaw was injured, and we wanted to rotate Christian Darrisaw by the end of the season into the starting role. They rushed Christian Darrisaw into the starting role when he became healthy. I still thought going into right now we would have Rashad Hill as our starting left tackle, as you want to really give rookies a slow start. Christian Darrisaw immediately taking the role and looking great and was one of the players who exceeded expectations this season. Rashad Hill at left tackle has been a disappointment though, and I can't say I'm surprised. Really, Rashad Hill, I like Rashad Hill. I think he's a great backup tackle, a great backup left and right tackle. He can play both sides. Rashad Hill is great. But when it comes down to it, by no means is he a starter and should not be starting with the Vikings, and that is why Christian Darrisaw was named the Viking starter. So Rashad Hill, longtime veteran with the Minnesota Vikings. I believe this is his 6th or 7th year with the Vikings. Love the guy. Want him to continue to play on this team. He can play, like I said, he can play left tackle, right tackle. He can play left guard or right guard. He can really anywhere but center. You can play Rashad Hill anywhere as a backup, really offensive lineman on your offensive line. So I like to have Rashad Hill on our depth chart, but what I do love is him not starting at left tackle and having Christian Darrisaw there instead. So Rashad Hill started the first 5 games with the Minnesota Vikings, where he played a total of 325 offensive snaps with 4 penalties and 3 sacks allowed in just 5 games started. Not good with a 39.9 PFF grade. So has just been awful. And I mean, there's not really much else to say there other than Rashad Hill was the weakest link on our offensive line. And now with Christian Darrisaw starting there and looking this good, the weakest link on our offensive line is looking like Garrett Bradbury. And that's surprising to say because he's the highest draft pick on our offensive line and he's looking like the worst player. So Garrett Bradbury, we probably won't see a second contract with him, but that's for a different day. For number 4, we had to put him on this list. Greg Joseph. Greg Joseph has been okay when you look at it statistically. I mean, he's been kicking pretty close to league average, but when it comes down to it, has been time and time again a disappointment. He lost us a chip shot field goal in the Arizona Cardinals game, a disappointment where the Vikings should have won that game. Again, against the Carolina Panthers, he missed another field goal. But when you look at it, Greg Joseph has been kicking pretty close to league average. When it comes to extra point attempts, he's making 92% of them. Good. Close to league average. 20 to 29 yards has made 100% from 20 to 29, has made 80% from 30 to 39. That's 4 for 5. The only one that he missed was a game-winning one against the Arizona Cardinals. From 40 to 49, made 1 out of 3, so 33%. And then 50 to 59, made 83%, 5 for 6 from over 50 yards. So when you look at it, Greg Joseph, and he is a 55-yard long, when you look at it, he's looked okay as a kicker statistically. Now he has struggle making it from over 40 yards, but other than that, has looked okay. It really comes down to him being a total disappointment and able to make missing a lot of kicks. I mean, I say close to league average, but he's been below average as a kicker, and we were expecting him to be somewhere below average as a kicker, but again, has been a disappointment, losing us one game and then almost losing us against the Carolina Panthers, having it go into overtime. So been a disappointment on this Vikings team. Number 3, we have DJ Wonham. Now, DJ Wonham is a weird one because 4th round, 2nd year player out of South Carolina, 4th round draft pick. We didn't have high expectations for him. But with that being said, has a phenomenal rookie season. And DJ Wonham, take away Yannick Ngakoue, was the best defensive end on the Vikings defense last year. And it wasn't even close. He was by far the best defensive end on the Vikings. As Danielle Hunter wasn't there, he was out. We didn't have Yannick Ngakoue. We traded him away. Fadio Denebo was looking terrible. I mean, we had Jalen Holmes didn't even get a single sack after starting almost the entire season. I mean, DJ Wonham was looking like the best defensive end last year and then winning us the game against the Green Bay Packers as well on an away game at Lambeau Field. DJ Wonham had a great rookie season. Going into this year, he was starting alongside Danielle Hunter, and we expected him to have somewhere around the same season that he did last year, and that was completely wrong, as DJ Wonham so far has started 4 games in the NFL with only 12 total sacks and 12 total tackles and 1 sack with the Vikings defense. That meaning 47.5 PFF grade. So DJ Wonham has just been a disappointment on this Vikings defense, and it's good to know that we have a lot of defensive linemen, and we have a lot of depth at the defensive line to even have Sheldon Richardson step in as a pass rusher. We have Dalvin Tomlinson getting sacks. Michael Pierce had 2 sacks in the first week. I mean, we're able to get to the passer with these other guys. And then, of course, Everson Griffin has also been huge with those Vikings defense and able to start over DJ Wonham now, even though he is 34 years old, was able to start over DJ Wonham. We also have our rookies, Patrick Jones and Janarius Robinson. So this is not a disappointment where it's going to ruin our season, but still, we were expecting more from DJ Wonham. When you take a look at it, number 2, we have Mckenzie Alexander. Mckenzie Alexander is a veteran, nickel back, and has played under this Vikings defense for a long time. Yes, he didn't last year. He was with the Bengals, but this year, he's been with the Vikings, Mike Zimmer defense for a long time. Veteran player. Does not look like it. Mckenzie Alexander has been one of the worst corners in football so far this season. Has played 73% of snaps on defense, where he's been targeted a total of 26 times, allowing 18 receptions so far this season with a PFF grade of 55.8. Mckenzie Alexander has done nothing for this Vikings defense except getting blown on just about every coverage. And Mckenzie Alexander, it has to do with his age, because I would expect him to be a smarter player than he is, but really he's just been getting burned on just about every route. And Mckenzie Alexander has been a huge disappointment on this Vikings defense. And one of the biggest reasons why we are 3-3 right now is the the Cardinals wouldn't have beat us if it wasn't for Mckenzie Alexander giving up that play to Christian Kirk. I mean, just terrible season so far for Mckenzie Alexander, but not as bad as number 1, which is Bashad Breeland, another corner who has been a big disappointment. Like I said, the whole Vikings cornerback room has really let us down this season outside of Patrick Peterson, who, okay, you can even throw Patrick Peterson to the list because, well, he had some bad matchups. DK Metcalf, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, cut him some slack. But we were taking a look at Bashad Breeland and Mckenzie Alexander here, 2 players who have just been losing us and getting destroyed on every single game. Haven't even had a good, actually Bashad Breeland has had a good game against the Carolina Panthers. The most recent one did have a great game. He picked off Sam Darnold in the very first play of the game. But so far, Bashad Breeland has started all 6 games with the Minnesota Vikings, getting targeted 36 times, 23 receptions allowed, and an interception with a PFF grade of 54.7. Bashad Breeland, worst starting corner in football. No question about that. Now with Patrick Peterson gone, Rashad Breeland, we're stuck with him being a cornerback 1. He's going to have to go against Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is going to kill him. He's going to put him in a body bag. I mean, Bashad Breeland has been the biggest disappointment on this Vikings team, and it is not even close. Like I said with the KJ Osborne one, where KJ Osborne by far was the biggest player in this Vikings who has exceeded expectations, Bashad Breeland continues to be the biggest player who lets us down. And now him stepping in as a cornerback 1 is huge, and he's going to be targeted all game. I mean, if you want to beat the Vikings defense, just target Bashad Breeland. It's not that hard. It doesn't matter who he's guarding. I don't care if he's guarding who's the worst wide receiver in football right now. Who's been Robbie Anderson, I guess we can just take based off of last game because of all of his drops. Even if Robbie Anderson is on him, Robbie Anderson's going to look like a superstar because Bashad Breeland continues to look like the worst corner in football. And hopefully Cameron Dantzler can come in and take that role when Patrick Peterson comes back. Hopefully Mike Zimmer will grow the balls to bench Bashad Breeland and have Patrick Peterson and Cameron Dantzler start alongside each other, and maybe a little bit less of Mckenzie Alexander. Hopefully our linebackers can step up, and that can be our 11 personnel right there. Wow. I don't know why I just talked super fast, but I had a lot to say right there. But again, Bashad Breeland, biggest disappointment on this Vikings team, and I hope to see him gone with the Minnesota Vikings soon by the end of the season. Just been terrible. Actually, why do I say I hope that? I hope he has a great rest of his season. I mean, he's with the Vikings. Of course, I hope he has a great rest of his season. I don't know why I said I hope he's been cut. I hope he looks like the best corner in football the rest of the year. There, spoken into existence. Minnesota Vikings, Bashad Breeland, you heard it here first. We'll be making a Pro Bowl this year. So you may have noticed a trend amongst these, with Bashad Breeland, Mckenzie Alexander, and DJ Wonham being the 3 biggest disappointments, all on the defensive side of the ball. Now, DJ Wonham, we're going to cut him some slack. He was a 4th-round draft pick, and he's looking like a 4th-round draft pick this year. We have a lot of depth at the defensive end position. We're looking at the cornerbacks right here, because the Vikings cornerback room has been the worst in football so far this season. Without Patrick Peterson, hands down, is the worst cornerback room in football. And I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it because they are god awful. I mean, Bashad Breeland is going to be the worst starting corner in football. He's going to be our cornerback 1, going against Amari Cooper, going against Marquise Brown, going up against Mike Williams. I mean, it's Devontae Adams. I mean, the list goes on of players that Bashad Breeland's going to have to go against, and he's going to continue to get targeted as he is the weakest link when it comes to this Vikings defense, and teams know that too. I mean, it's week 6. We're going into week 8. Our next game will be. Teams know how to beat the Vikings, and it's just simply targeting those corners, Mckenzie Alexander, Bashad Breeland, and Cameron Dantzler when he comes in. I hate to be the Dantzler hater here, but when Dantzler comes in, they're going to target him a lot as well. And then that really wraps up the 5 players who have been disappointments on this Vikings team so far this week, going into week 7, where it's our bye week, and then after that, week 8, I guess going into week 8, 5 players who have been disappointments, and I hope they can step up when it comes to the rest of the season.